From May 18th until June 1st, Yveltal will be available in raids in Pokemon Go. Yveltal is a highly anticipated Pokemon, being a pretty bulky, dark flying type Pokemon, one of the more powerful Pokemon in the franchise, and people have been asking, just how good is Yveltal in Pokemon Go? So in this video, I'm going to let you guys know just how good Yveltal is in the raid meta and in the PvP scene. In Ultra League and Master League PvP in particular. So if you're curious just how good Yveltal is, yeah, I'm going to let you know all about that. By the way, if you want to know what the best counters are to the Yveltal raid, or maybe some details to help you out for the duo or the trio of the Yveltal raid, I will be coming out with a raid guide tomorrow, so if you haven't subscribed to me already, make sure to subscribe and check that one out. At any rate, let's see how good Yveltal is. So starting out, when it comes to Yveltal in raids as a dark type attacker, here I have the DPS TDO calculator on GamePress, sorted by Pokemon using nothing but dark type attacks. And you can see that Yveltal is kind of bottom of the list here. Now I do have this sorted by DPS to the third power times TDO, which is a metric for a Pokemon's overall raid goodness. So it's taking DPS, which is how quickly you can beat the raid boss, that metric, and it's weighing that by 3, so definitely a greater weight to that. But we do know that if you are tanky and you can survive those hits, then you can put in some more meaningful damage in the raid. So, you know, kind of matters there. But even if you look at the DPS here, you can see that Yveltal is bottom of the bunch when it comes to DPS. Now, one thing I do want to highlight to you guys is that this does have Mega Pokemon and Shadow Pokemon, and it also has some unreleased Pokemon as well. Like, we don't have Mega Tyranitar, we don't have Ash Greninja, I'm pretty sure we don't have Mega Absol yet either. So, you know, the competition isn't that fierce when it comes to the dark type attackers that are non-Shadow, non-Mega. It is just Darkrai and Yveltal there, but Darkrai is still beating Yveltal out in the overall goodness. Darkrai also has the higher DPS, because Darkrai has a higher attack stat. If you're wondering, you know, it's got the CP there. Yveltal does have slightly higher CP than Darkrai. That's because Yveltal has that much more defense and that much more HP, but Darkrai does have the higher attack stat, and at the end of the day, its Snarls are going to be hitting harder, its Dark Pulses are going to be hitting harder, and as a result, it is a slightly better Dark-type Pokemon. And I mean, in all fairness, Darkrai is a Mono-type Dark Pokemon. It may as well at least have that going on for it, right? But yeah, Yveltal kind of living in Darkrai's shadow a little bit. Now, Yveltal isn't that bad, despite how this may appear, because it does have that higher bulk. So if you are up against a raid boss where that flying type resistance comes in and helps it out, or if the greater bulk in general allows it to survive a hit that would otherwise KO Darkrai and would allow Yveltal to get some more Dark Pulses in before going down, then that could put Yveltal ahead of Darkrai. So even though Yveltal is living in Darkrai's shadow, on this basic spreadsheet here, in practice, there could be some opportunities for Yveltal to pull ahead. However, even with that in mind, things get a little bit harder for Yveltal when you consider that Dark type and Ghost type attacks have virtually the same exact coverage, meaning that all Dark type Pokemon are going to constantly be in competition with all Ghost type Pokemon. By changing the DPS TDO spreadsheet like Pokemon type that you're fighting against to Ghost type Pokemon, so we get both Dark and Ghost type attackers on this list here, you can see that our friend Yveltal here isn't making the front page. Now, of course, once again, we got nothing but like Megas and Shadows here, so you can't really blame Yveltal too much for not showing up. But going over to page 2, you'll see our buddy here isn't even making page 2. Giratina Origin Form is beating it out. Darkrai, of course, is beating it out. Once again, we already knew this. But even Chandelure and Gengar are beating out Yveltal. We got to go all the way to page 3 to find Yveltal. So when it comes to Pokemon that Dark types fight against, which are the same Pokemon that Ghost types fight against, it just seems like Ghost type Pokemon are kind of beating out the Yveltal. And then to make matters even worse, the best of this bunch overall is Mega Gengar. Mega Gengar, the Ghost type Pokemon, not a Dark type Pokemon, giving a Mega bonus, a Mega same type attack bonus to all Ghost type Pokemon, making Ghost types even more powerful in these raids, pushing their limits, you know? Yveltal's not feeling any of that. It's not picking up any of that bonus there. I mean, Darkrai can pick up that bonus, it can use Shadow Ball. But our poor friend Yveltal is not a Ghost type. So I mean, Mega Tyranitar could come out in the future. You know, it's still worse than Mega Gengar, right? You know, Mega Houndoom already exists. Mega Gyarados already exists. But once again, both are kind of worse than Mega Gengar. So it's like, Oh man, if you end up against some sort of raid boss that's like using a bunch of psychic type attacks and it's super aggressive, so you need that resistance of a dark type Pokemon, then yeah, Yveltal definitely can be good. And then when it comes to the comparison to Darkrai there, we are more tanky than Darkrai, so that's another boon for the Yveltal there. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the raid meta and how type effectiveness works, it seems like more often than not, Yveltal is going to be kind of a subpar option in a lot of raids. Does that mean Yveltal's like super bad? Well, Darkrai isn't super bad, and Yveltal is roughly as good as Darkrai is. So I'd say Yveltal is a very good raid attacker. Of course, if you are pinched on Stardust, then I think there are some better investments out there for the raid attacking scene. Now, Yveltal is also a flying type Pokemon, and it has both Gust and Hurricane, so it does have a dual flying type moveset. And as a flying type attacker, it's not too shabby, but once again, it is kind of living in the shadow of a lot of things there. I mean, obviously, the Moltres with the Legacy, is it Wing Attack or Sky Attack, or is it both? Are both these moves Legacy moves? Comment in the description. I don't remember. I think they're both Legacy moves, though, or at least Sky Attack is. At any rate, double flying Moltres is going to be better than the Yveltal. Hidden Power Flying Ho-Oh, that's kind of rare. I don't expect people to want to really power that up either, so yeah, it's kind of beating you out, but not that much. But Air Slash Hurricane Rayquaza is beating... I thought it had Aerial Ace, man. Why does it got Hurricane? Since when did Rayquaza get Hurricane? Is that a thing? Am I dumb? Did it have Hurricane this whole time? It got it as an event move. When the heck did this thing get Hurricane? At any rate, I'm pretty sure the Aerial Ace Rayquaza also beats out Yveltal, or is at least, very similar. I could do this and find out. Let's see. Aerial Ace. Ooh! Aerial Ace Rayquaza is behind Yveltal. How about that? So, if you don't have the Legacy Hurricane Rayquaza, I guess. Man, that's goofy. Back on track here. Yeah, Yveltal. Kind of subpar when it comes to being a flying type Pokemon. But, it is kind of the least nonsensical one of the bunch there. Because, this guy, Legacy move to get it. Hidden Power Flying, and then you have to max it out. Unlikely. Hurricane, Legacy move. I don't know when that happened, but yeah, I wouldn't bother with that. So, Yveltal does seem like a pretty reasonable option for raid attacking as a flying type Pokemon. And then, on top of that, we do have the future to consider. The future that is Oblivion Wing. Just like Xerneas, Pokemon Go released Yveltal incomplete! It has a signature move that they showed us in the promotional video for Xerneas and Yveltal, Oblivion Wing, and they didn't release it with it. This is the day before, but they're not going to do it, right? But if you do give it an Oblivion Wing as a really powerful charge move, like a Blast Burn clone, yeah, as you can see here, if Yveltal gets Oblivion Wing as a signature charge move in the future, and it's at least as good as Blast Burn is, then yeah, it'll overtake Moltres as a flying type attacker. So, not bad. So Yveltal, as it stands, a pretty useful flying type raid attacker, and in the future will probably be number one aside from Shadows and Megas. So definitely not a bad Pokemon. So when it comes to Ultra League PvP, I don't really feel like Yveltal is it, because we already have Mandibuzz. And the big thing that Yveltal has going for it over Mandibuzz is that it has Focus Blast. So if you end up against like almost only Registeel, that feels like the only matchup where you'd really want the Focus Blast, well, then you could throw Focus Blast at Registeel and hope it doesn't shield it. But Mandibuzz can overcome most Registeels in the 2-shield situation already, so it's like, what is this Focus Blast really doing for the Yveltal here in this meta? And then to add to that, there are Fairy-type Pokemon all over the place in the Ultra League, harassing Dark-type Pokemon. Mandibuzz can fight it back against them with the Shadow Ball. Yveltal could forego Focus Blast and go for the Hurricane, but the Hurricane isn't going to be enough to take down the Fairy-type Pokemon. And then you lose your like little interesting coverage option with the Focus Blast there. So it's just kind of really awkward. I guess another advantage Yveltal has is that you don't have to use XL candy, level 23.5, so basically out of the box there, compared to Mandibuzz having to be XL'd. If you look at the level 40 Mandibuzz, it's still 300 different stat product. That's a lot, but it kind of gets a little bit more even there. But yeah, Ultimately, I don't feel like Yveltal really has much of a place in the Ultra League meta. And then even outside of Mandibuzz, we have the XL Umbreon, and then we also have the Obstagoon as other Dark-type Pokemon, both of which are doing very similar stuff to the Yveltal, especially when you consider Obstagoon, which has the counter damage. And the Obstagoon can even beat the Yveltal pretty easily, so at the end of the day, when you've got these other Dark-type options, why are we really considering Yveltal here? The Focus Blast coverage, how late you get to it, mostly, it doesn't really do a whole lot for it. So you could use Yveltal in the Ultra League. You probably will pull some wins in the Ultra League. Like I said, Xerneas is bad, and Xerneas is confirmed to be bad. But my friend Daniel Z here, he was able to climb the legend with Xerneas in the Ultra League. So, I mean, if you want to use Yveltal in the Ultra League, go right ahead. It's obviously, not a bad Pokemon. It's just that we have other options that do the same thing, but arguably better. So Yveltal, it could work out, definitely harasses the Giratina. It is a counter to the Registeel, but I feel like its lack of options against Fairy-type Pokemon, and then competition from other Dark-type Pokemon, which are already pretty much doing its job, but a bit better, I don't really feel like it has much of a place in the Ultra League. Of course, it's not bad. It's got Snarl and Dark Pulse, so it can't be that bad, right? So I feel like you can still use it to good effect, but do you really want to use it compared to the other stuff? That's just how I feel about it in the Ultra League. Now, when it comes to the Master League, yeah, Yveltal's looking way better when it comes to the Master League. So when it comes to Yveltal in the Master League, it's got Snarl, it's got Dark Pulse, it's got Focus Blast. That sounds a lot like our friend Darkrai here. And Darkrai did have some hype when it was first, initially released, because it could potentially throw that Focus Blast on the Dialga and take it out. And then it had the Dark-type attacks to mess with the Giratinas that were big in the meta at the time. The unfortunate reality, though, is in the one-shield situation, the Dragon Breath damage from Dialga would end up taking out our friend Darkrai here just before it could reach the Focus Blast. So unless, Go Battle Egg throws you a bone, you're probably not going to be countering the Dialga here unless you're coming in with some energy lead, right? Well, as you can imagine, our friend Yveltal here does have more bulk, and as a result can take down Dialga in the one-shield situation. Unfortunately, it does choke a little bit in the two-shield situation here. Much in the same way that Darkrai chokes in the one-shield situation. We just reach the Focus Blast, but, no, we didn't, right? So unless Go Battle Egg throws us a bone, it's not happening. And yeah, we are getting KO'd with 4 HP. The Dragon Breath damage is doing 5 HP. If you were to best buddy this guy, taking it to level 41, it only gives you 1 more HP, so you wouldn't be quite making it there. So that is unfortunate for that consistency. But being able to beat Dialga in the 1-1, or at least put that kind of shield pressure on it, that is still pretty impressive. So it's hard to say Yveltal is bad just because it doesn't always beat Dialga. I think there's a lot of Pokemon in the Master League that are supposed to beat Dialga that don't always beat Dialga. So this isn't a big count against it. I just thought it would be fun to highlight this particular type of matchup because it's what, Darkrai was supposed to be cool for. And I guess if you want to bump things up even more, take them to the XL Master League. Should we ever get XL Dialga candy easily, right? You will see that the extra bulk from the extra level ups, attack and defense, they keep trading places, but that HP keeps going up, right? When it comes to those power-ups. So we would be able to reach the Focus Blast in the XL Master League. So Dialga, if you ever do get that XL candy, you ever do re-release in the raids, Yveltal's waiting for you, man, up there in XL Master League. Then when it comes to the rest of the Master League here, the Master League Classic, of course, level 40 Master League, using the 1-1 shield situation, base simulations from PvPoke here, you can see that it's not that bad. 14 wins, 13 losses, doesn't look too shabby. And what really does matter when it comes to the Master League is what are you beating, how are you beating it, and what are you losing to, and how bad are those losses? And if you look at the wins here, you're completely dominating both of the Giratinas. The Giratinas do not want to deal with this Dark-type Pokemon. Groudon, Ground-type attacker, Fire Punches, not super effective to you. Groudon does not want to deal with you. And then, of course, Dialga and Melmetal. You have the Hail Mary Focus Blast to take them out. Will that Focus Blast always land? Not exactly. But will this mean that you will get shields from the Dialga and the Melmetal pretty often there, possibly putting you at a shield advantage for the end game? Yeah, I think so. I think I think Yveltal has that power there. So that is really good for the Yveltal. And then when it comes to the Mewtwo you also completely dominate. If Mewtwo tries to go straight Ice Beam and you shield those Ice Beams, it's just going to be a little bit too slow there. You could get a little baby farm action on it even. So Mewtwo does not want to deal with the Yveltal. So definitely a tall, powerful Pokemon overall when it comes to the Master League. Of course, we do have to consider the losses though, and some of the losses really aren't all that great. Right off the bat, at the top, finger in the air, we have Togekiss. Togekiss, Fairy-type Pokemon, Yveltal, Focus Blast, and Dark Pulse. You got nothing on Togekiss but to lose. So if Togekiss does catch you, that's pretty much the end. You've got no fighting chance to get out of that fight. Even if you have Hurricane, it's not really going to help you against the Togekiss there. So Togekiss is definitely the nightmare Pokemon that's going to be shutting you down. And the Machamp matchup is actually pretty bad for you too. Like you'd think like, oh, Machamp, just hit him with the Dark Pulse, man. But then you remember, oh shoot, Dark Pulse is resisted. Machamp has nothing but neutrally effective and super effective hits against me. This isn't going to go good. Are you going to be able to get the Focus Blast against it? I'm not exactly sure, you know? So Machamp, definitely a really bad matchup for you. And then Kyogre and all the Dragon-type Pokemon are going to basically be able to out-damage you. In those situations, you probably would just want to go with the Zero Shield against them just so you can preserve your shields and do a bunch of damage against them. And the Dark Pulses do come fast enough where you do deal a lot of damage to these Pokemon, but they definitely will be shutting you down more often than not. Now, of course, there are some losses here that PvPoke does get wrong, such as the Lugia matchup. If you shield the Aeroblast, Lugia's got nothing to do against you. And then you got the Ho-Oh matchup. If you're able to call the Earthquakes or the Brave Birds, then yeah, Ho-Oh's going to have a miserable time against you too. So not exactly like the biggest losses in the world. I think Ho-Oh can also turn the bus around if it like tanks a Dark Pulse early and goes straight Brave Bird. So maybe the Ho-Oh matchup is a bit of an L there, but definitely not as bad of an L as this is making it look, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, definitely not the worst matchups in the universe. And then I think the Zekrom is slow enough where you do have the potential to maybe flip that matchup if you can call the wild charges and the crunches, or at the very least put like a really big squeeze on them. So a lot of the losses aren't great. Some of the losses are a bit manageable. At the end of the day, I'd say Yveltal is a very good Pokemon in the Master League. It's not the new almighty Swag Master that completely flips the Master League on its head. It's just another piece of the puzzle of the same picture. Nothing groundbreaking, but nothing bad. And I feel like what it does is unique enough to what we currently do have in the meta that some of your opponents might not be prepared for it. Or specific team comps could get a unique advantage by having Yveltal on their team. So do you necessarily need Yveltal for the Master League? Not exactly, but it wouldn't be a bad Pokemon to have if you are into Master League PvP. Of course, my personal opinion on the Master League is pretty low, especially now that they give us like great leagues to compete with every time the Master League is up. This is a really heavy Stardust investment, so it's like, it's really hard to keep up with the Master League if you can't keep up with the Master League. So for a player like me, Master League overall probably isn't worth it. Yveltal, definitely not worth it. But if you are into the Master League, I think Yveltal is probably worth having, or at least worth having on standby, right? And then when it comes to the Master League XL, as shown by PvPoke, so it might not be like the most 100% accurate representation of the Master League XL because there are people out there with some pretty big Dialgas, let me tell you. It's not looking as hot, and the main reason why is because a lot of Yveltal's targets that allows it to pull ahead in the Master League Classic really don't exist that well in the Master League XL here. Giratina, gone. Mewtwo, gone. Your Hail Mary against the Dialga, there is no Dialga. Groudon, there is no Groudon. So of course there are people out there that do have pumped up versions of those Pokemon for the Master League XL here, so if you bring in Yveltal, you could get an advantage over those Pokemon, but I feel like the general meta, if you will, at least as displayed here by PvPoke, is pretty aggressive towards Yveltal right now, so probably not the best time to do a big XL investment into the Yveltal here. Yeah. Is this the true Master League XL meta though? I don't know. Will I ever compete in the Master League XL? Probably not, because this is just outrageous. I don't know, man. I don't have Stardust and candy for the regular Master League. Like, who's got the Stardust and candy for Master League XL, man? Not this guy. And that's all I got to say on Yveltal. Of course, once again, if you want to know the best counters to the Yveltal raid, I will be putting a video out on that tomorrow, so if it's not linked above in the description already, make sure to subscribe to SwagTips and check that one out. At any rate, if you got any questions on this content, comment below, let me know what's up, I'll be happy to help you out. And if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more like it, make sure to subscribe to SwagTips. SwagTips. I'd also like to give a special shout out to these Patreon supporters. If you want to support the Swagman on Patreon, link in the description.
You don't want my gift?
Well, I'm in the middle of recording. I didn't expect. Whoa, she's got me that chicken from Popeyes.